Yeah. I'm definitely cooler. I got Ugg boots on. You're barefoot like some kind of hobbit.
I actually want some Ugg boots.
They're very comfortable. Very necessary in cold weather.
What temperature is it there right now?
I don't know. 8.
Christchurch. Probably about the same. Is Christchurch like the similar latitude
7.
as Melbourne?
I think
Maybe lower?
lower. I think Melbourne is kind of Auckland level.
Yeah, let me just get up a map here real quick.
Get up to map.
Slightly lower. You're more in line with the Hobart.
Tasmania? Yeah.
Yeah, Tasmania. Yeah, so we're in line with like Hamilton.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's up north.
Yeah, but how are you, man?
I'm good.
How are ya? How was your nachos?
My parents are coming this week.
Oh,
Yeah, in 2 days. They will be flying across the ditch and hanging out in Christchurch for a few days. So
you were just practicing the dishes that you would make for when they arrived.
yeah, I was like, what do mum and dad eat? Probably 5 out of 7 meals a week. It's nachos, and I better be able to.
Wait, you'll be cooking your dad a curry, I assume.
Probably not, to be honest. We'll probably just go out for dinners.
Do you do that? Just go out.
Yeah.
I guess you got housemates, so it's a bit weird.
I got housemates, so it's not like it's just they're staying at my place or anything like that. It's like there's 3 other people who live here, and they'd be perfectly fine with me bringing them around or whatever. But at the same time, it's like if we want to have a sociable catch up, we might as well do it in a nice restaurant.
Yeah, nice. And do you have like things planned and stuff?
Well, that's kind of the weird thing about it is that I've lived here for 7 years now. So they've been over a few times and sort of ticked off the touristy things. So it's not like there's big hit list items they haven't got to already. They will. So they're actually coming for about 10 days. They'll be here for one weekend, sort of getting in on the Thursday night, catch up for dinner on Thursday, meet KC on Friday, and then
meet.
Yeah, first time in person. I mean, they've met on Skype, but it's not quite. It's not the same as hanging out with someone. So that's quite exciting. And then, on the weekends, we'll do stuff around town. And then they'll go off on a sort of road trip for 5 days in the middle of the week next week and head up north for some whale watching and down south a little bit to a sort of retreat thing. And then come back for next weekend and spend the second weekend with us and then head home. So it just gives... I feel like they don't want to expect us to take care of them for a week in Christchurch, and they've done enough of Christchurch that they wouldn't necessarily sit around in the city while we had work to do and that sort of stuff. So they'll head off and see a little bit of the broader island and then come back in when there's more time off.
And is KCDC nervous about meeting the folks?
I don't think nervous. I'm nervous in a weird way. Like now it's like the rubber hits the road kind of moment where it's like, well, I hope they like each other because it's 18 months in. Like normally they don't meet the parents like a year and a half in unless you're living somewhere away, I suppose. But traditionally you probably would have met in person before now.
Yeah. Oh, cool. That's exciting.
Yeah. So that'll be good and a chance to, I guess, give myself a bit of a designated holiday break in the middle of the year. Play a bit of a tourist and eat a lot of food.
Love it. Love that for you.
You don't sound
You hate it when people say that? I don't.
No.
I was trying to fake it. I'm appropriately enthused about that. I'd be more enthused if I was.
I've checked with the referees, and they say my level of enthusiasm is appropriate. Well, okay. Well, what about you? Talk about you. Make yourself sound interesting.
Oh, here's something. I had a weird moment the other day.
Okay.
Weird moment, and I think you'd probably be the best person to talk to about this.
Well, that's lucky. I'm here.
Yeah. every Friday at work, we have we have our team, and then broadly in the kind of communications sphere, there are other teams, and every Friday, all teams get together and we have a meeting and just update each other on what's been happening in our individual teams. Blah blah blah. It's a teams update, and we take turns. Each team chooses one person each week to give an update. Basically, just reading, some notes. Pretty easy. I've done it a couple of times before. And you're basically just delivering this update to 30 people. And I was giving one on Friday, and I was doing it. So I'm doing it in the office, and I was wearing my mask, and I'm in the office with one other person, and I start to. So I say, "Good morning, everyone." Blah blah blah. That was the ad lib.
So there's only one person. There's one person there.
Sorry, I should have said this. This is on Zoom.
Oh, gotcha. So you're in the office, but it's going out to a whole group of remote teams as well.
Yeah. So gotcha. I'm talking to about 30 people.
Sure.
And I start to talk, and I'm basically just reading, scripted notes, low pressure. And anyway, I start to give this talk, and about 10 seconds in, I have the thought that I am exhaling more than I'm inhaling. And from there, it goes from 0 to 100. And I proceed to have what I think is a panic attack.
Oh, shit.
On this meeting in front of all these people. I don't know if it was a panic attack, but I certainly started to hyperventilate, which is not something I can ever remember doing in the past.
Yeah, wow.
And I started to go, and I think it was a combination of, I felt like I couldn't breathe. I ripped off my mask. My colleague ran out so that I could be in the office without the mask. He noticed what was going on. It was very noticeable to everyone because we have like a chat on the side of it, and everyone. Here's the thing, so I tried to get through the entire speech, which I did, but in a really short breath. My voice was all over the place. My mind was going all over the place. It was the weirdest experience. I was so confused by my body, my body's reaction, and I got through it. But then people were, messaging on the side saying, "Hey, Michael, you got this," being really nice. But it was worse that they said that to me.
Yeah.
Because it was some people were saying, "Hey, we all get it. It's really hard to talk in the mask." And I'm like, it's not hard to talk in the mask. It's easy. I'm just having a weird thing. One guy, this is the best response to that. So everyone noticed this because we went out to lunch. Well, a few of us in our immediate team went out to lunch that day, and everyone asked me about it. Asked me how it was going, what was wrong, and I was like, I was fine. I was fine immediately after. I just went outside and took a deep breath, and I was absolutely fine. But one guy was like, "Man, that was hard to watch." And I'm like, that's the right reaction though, because it was so weird. And the worst part was I didn't feel nervous or anything. I think I just got in my head.
It wasn't like it was a medical situation where someone's there was no one off camera being like, "Michael, just hold on, we'll pause, go grab a drink of water, come back in 5 minutes, do you need help," or anything like that. It was at a level where it just seemed like performance anxiety, and
here's
no
the
one
thing.
was concerned medically.
There was only other one person in my office, but I'm presenting to 30 people all on Skype.
Yeah.
And so he runs out the office because I ripped off my mask because I thought it was the mask that was not enabling me to breathe.
Yeah.
I just got it in my head. I think I just got so in my head and I thought I was suffocating. It was the weirdest thing ever. But you've had panic. What do you reckon is going on there?
Yeah, it sounds like a panic attack. The tricky thing with totally. The tricky thing with a panic attack is trying to ascribe cause to it, when often it is not consciously about anything. And that's one of those tricky things when people witness or hear about anxiety, is often they try and logic it out by like, well, just go away from the thing that's worrying you, or just, step outside and control your breathing. And the reality is that you might, as you discovered in your own brain, be like, what the fuck is happening? Why is my body doing this? And that's sort of a spiral, because then when you're like, my body's not listening to me, my body's doing things and I'm not in control of my body, and like, then you're all of a sudden like getting more panicked about the thing that's happening, and then it's making itself worse, right?
Shit.
Yeah.
I had a panic attack. I don't think I've had one before.
Yeah, they're not great fun. Yeah, I don't recommend.
No. And to do it publicly and to do it in front of 30 people was not ideal either.
I'm sorry, you just broke up.
What was I saying? Oh yeah. I think I remember exactly where we were leading in. If you wanted to do a edit.
Yeah, perfect.
Unless you wanted to keep it in.
No, I don't need that. 10 minutes of silence.
It's art, man. Come on, it's raw.
Well, when we've got the YouTube video up, we can use that one.
Yeah, it was unpleasant to have. If that's what I had, a panic attack, it was unpleasant to have it. My first one in front of 30 people on a meeting.
Damn it, we're laggy today.
Still good?
Yeah, it seems fine now that we turned off that record. I don't know what that might have been doing. All right, sorry. Third time lucky.
All right, we can just leave it off. So yeah, it was just unfortunate to have. If I did have a panic attack there, it was unfortunate to have it in front of 30 people.
It's weird though, because it's hard to know exactly what might have been going on, but part of it is potentially the idea that the public pressure of it might not have triggered it, but it might have then worsened it, in the same way that recognizing your own body is doing weird things out of your control might worsen it. Then you might suddenly find that realizing that 30 people are staring at you is also making it worse.
I think that's probably accurate, because as I said, I had done that presentation before, like multiple times, and it's low pressure and it's never an issue. And I don't generally have an issue public speaking. I'm, if anything, I'm a bit of an attention seeker. So, I think you're right. It was like, I remember distinctly having, that distinct thought that while I'm reading something off a script, I am exhaling more than I'm inhaling, and I'm not breathing properly, and I can't breathe.
Sorry, no dice. It was
no
all
dice?
laggy. I don't know. I just checked my computer. I don't have anything open. I don't have anything going. Well, I'll give it one more crack and see how it goes.
Yeah. If it comes up again, we bail.
Okay. Getting into the mood for a seamless transition. Hey, Michael, tell us about that panic attack. No time has passed, and it's exactly where we were in that sentence.
What a good time. Yeah. God. What was the last thing we said?
So, I think... Here we go. Recap. Look, I'm going to pull the veil back for the listeners. We've just spent half an hour dealing with connections issues. You might have not noticed anything because our segue was so smooth. But actually, that's just a demonstration of our amazing editing skills. And in reality, we have been on technical hell island for a while. So let's think about what we said a long time ago and try and remember. I think you were talking about the realization that the speaking in front of people was not necessarily the cause, but it probably worsened in the same way that
That's it.
mind realizing it was having a panic attack makes a panic attack worse.
That's it. You said to me, which I think was accurate, that it wasn't necessarily the public speakingness of it that triggered the panic attack, but it once you get into that cycle or into that, I was reading up on hyperventilating, and it's basically you're disrupting your regular pattern of breathing, which is not something that I have ever really thought about, but I think from what I've read, you can actually disrupt the rhythm of how you breathe, and then once you're out of sync with yourself, and then if you're speaking to a bunch of people that you don't know that well, your body can just shut down essentially.
Yeah. So you were saying that as well. You had a couple of people in the lunch afterwards come up and ask you how you're doing. Were any people like, you had a panic attack, or could they tell something had happened, but they weren't like sure as to what was going on? Like how switched on do you think the viewers actually were?
Well, that's the thing that I worry about, because I was absolutely fine after, and I also don't have a history of this. So my worry is that people think that, I mean, I'm relatively new there. I'm under a year working there. I'm worried that people think that this is just something that happens to me, which it's not. And no one suggested, "Hey, what did you have? Did you have a panic attack?" But it was that concerns. Oh, are you okay? That thing. Where in reality, like the best reaction for me would have been like, "Whoa, like what happened there?" And I'd be like, "I don't know," because that was what I said. I was like, "I have no idea what happened. I just, I'm as confused as you are." But yeah, I think I've got the feeling that some people think that this always happens, which I can't explain to them that it doesn't. But
well, why do you think you can't explain that? Like, what? There's two questions I have. One is, why does it matter if people think this does happen to you? And two, why can't you explain to them that it was the first time something like that had happened?
Well, I guess I could, and I guess it's projection, but I mean, I guess one thing that went through my head is that I work in communications, and like, and some of the other people in that meeting don't. And so the idea that it's kind of like the idea that like, as part of our sect of the communications department, we should probably be like the best at doing that stuff. I don't know. That might be weird, but like, that went through my head. Like, yeah.
I mean, I get that, but you're not on camera talent either.
No, but it is part like public speaking.
But communications is as much writing as it is speaking, right? Like you could be a great writer.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it's a silly thought, but that was definitely something that went through my head. I mean, look, maybe I'm. It's one of those things that I think, because it was like such a shock to me, or was a big deal to me. I'm sure some people were like, "What the hell's going on with this guy?" But I bet it wasn't as big as they're not thinking about it now.
Yeah,
as much as I am.
No. And as you say, I think the fact that it's the first time something like that had happened is going to make it more stressful, or you'll be more self-aware of that feeling and stuff than I think other people looking in would be. But the
yeah, well, I certainly have more. I thought of you immediately. Actually, you might have been the cause. But I actually did think of you immediately when I walked out of the office. Because I know that you've had panic attacks in the past, and when you've spoken about them, I never really knew what I never really really understood what the physiological side of things felt like. I was, my idea of panic attacks beforehand. By the way, I'm not even sure that this is what it was, but my idea of panic attack beforehand were that I don't know, you.
It's like mental. You're just worrying about stuff.
Like I don't know. It seems like it's not going to work for us today.
Well, who knows how this got edited together, but I'd say it's time for the titles, wouldn't you, Michael?
I'd love some titles, please.
Ding! Welcome to Deep Thought, everybody. And this is gosh, it's been such a frustrating podcast so far for us. This is probably the 4th time we've started recording, but I hope that's not coming across in the tone of my voice. I'm not actually angry at you. I'm not actually angry at Michael, which is a pleasant surprise. But I am angry at Skype and the internet and Elon Musk still. So I hope that this introduction serves as a sort of a milestone, a fork in the road, and we're going to actually stop recording here and pick it up in like 3 days or something when we can get a fucking internet connection. So sitting through the internet with me, it's Michael. Hi.
Hi.
And I'm Nick. Oh, fuck this fucking Skype. Go fuck itself. The fucking fuck.
It's been a crazy week here. It's been a really crazy week.
Crazy in here as in Melbourne or as in you?
Australia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Australia is what? How many states are there? 7.
I think it's 8 total, including territories, isn't it?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3,
like
4,
5 out of
5,
8
6,
are locked
7,
down.
8. Yeah.
5 out of 8 locked down. Everyone but Tasmania, Victoria, which is the weirdest thing ever, and South Australia.
Yeah.
It's going off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I don't know yet whether or not this is coming after we've already just done the titles and it's like, hey, welcome back. We're trying again on this same fucking episode. Or if this is brand new. But theoretically, the listener might now have just heard us come from a week prior to a week later in the course of an episode. So since we last recorded and failed with fucking technical problems, all of Australia has suddenly exploded with this Delta variant.
No, I think we should acknowledge the fact that we tried to record last week.
We really, really tried.
By the way, kind of offensive that no one was like, where's the podcast? No one cared. No one cared.
I like to think that they were too emotionally wrecked to even dare reach out yet. They needed some time to grieve before they could, face the truth head on like that. So I think we actually left them in sort of pools of emotional distress, and that's what I hope for.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell yourself whatever you want, but we both know that's not the case. I was gonna put out a post saying, "Hey guys, sorry we didn't." You might be wondering why there wasn't an episode this week, but no one gave a fuck.
Well, I said that we should have put out the proof of our video clip on Instagram last week to show that we tried, but I'm not in charge of socials, and I believe the president of the podcast decided not to do that. And as the CEO,
President?
I'm the CEO and you're the president, or is it the other way around? I can't remember.
You're definitely the CEO. I just didn't realize I was the president.
Right. Yeah. So that was, I mean, in some ways the CEO role is more important. A lot of ways. But the president's sort of like a figurehead who's meant to be out there, spurring the masses on, building encouragement, that kind of thing, and being the public face of it. A little bit of a lapse, perhaps, in not getting out in front of this thing and letting everyone know that we didn't have a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely my bad. And also, I definitely need to update my LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Sounds like as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we've got a lot to get through, Nick. I don't know if you know this.
I don't. I've certainly got a few things banked here.
Oh yeah.
Shall we just push on? And either this is now the intro, or we just had the intro and let's get started. Who cares? Let's solve it in post.
All right. Do you want to do an intro just in case, and then if you end up using the original intro, this will just fall flat?
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. No time to spare. Welcome to Deep Thought, everybody. Thank you for being here. This is a very exciting period. It's been 3 weeks. There's so much to talk about. There is the world going crazy. There are people in houses. There's excitement brewing across the world, and we just don't have time for the normal formalities. This is a podcast. Michael is with me. Michael, you don't get a chance to speak. Nope. You don't have time to speak this week, so no more interruptions, please. And I'm Nick. Sorry. Hi, Nick. Hi. Let's move on to the segment, and that's a wrap.
That should be the intro always.
Okay, well,
drag it out all the time.
I'll just delete the hours and hours of work I did creating that theme song. Oh wait, I can't, so we won't.
Right. First agenda. Should we just rush through the entire pod?
Let's do this.
All right.
So just for clarity, I am in the same project file that I was in last week, and I'm currently at 43 minutes. So as to how long this has been,
boy.
We'll see. Moving on.
Gonna be a tough one for me to edit this week.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to do it.
I feel sorry for you already.
Yeah, thanks, man. Just an update. So last week, when we tried to record initially, just confirming that you can hear me because you've frozen.
Oh, yep, that's not a good sign. I can hear you now.
Okay, it's 5:45 my time, so I'm guessing we're gonna beat the rush, the rush home. Usually people clock onto Netflix and stuff around 6:30.
This is boring. We don't have time for this, Michael. We've got to keep going. We've got to move. We've got to go.
Last week I talked about my first ever panic attack.
Yes.
Haven't had one since, so just wanted to give that update.
That might not be in the edit. Again, we don't know these things.
We don't know.
Be irrelevant.
Well, if it is, then but if it isn't, I had a panic attack a couple of weeks ago at work.
Doesn't
First
matter. Too boring. It doesn't matter. You didn't have another. It's okay. Getting rid of it. Sorry. Moving on.
Too boring.
Next one.
Too boring. Okay. I'm starting to feel a panic attack coming on again. Oh shit. All right. We're going to slow this down seriously because I will hyperventilate.
Yes. No, that was for comedic effect. I'm glad to hear that you are not that you're having further symptoms.
Yeah, but I am looking out for it weirdly because I'm just
yeah.
Because I've had it one, so now I'm like every time I feel feel like a little bit of my heart rate increasing. I'm like, oh god, is this it? So now I'm in a world of I'm in a prison essentially now.
Yeah, brain prison.
That's how you feel, I guess. So from the last episode, you gave an all-time story about Merrick and Rosso and about the time that they pranked you in high school. And you've been teasing with me. You've got a surprise, don't you, Nick?
I do. And I admire your restraint. It has been several weeks and you've refused to give in to off-air satisfaction of this itch and waited for this podcast. And then when we couldn't get to it last week, I know it was a blue balls kind of situation, but you've held it in. I have some very exciting news. I have the audio. I have the original 2006, 15 years ago, podcast audio of my appearance on the Merrick and Rosso podcast. Would you like to hear it?
I can't believe it. I literally cannot wait to hear this. And also, it's so you to have kept this, by the way.
Yeah, I have every file from every laptop I've ever owned. I've very neatly ported my old laptop into the next one and maintained old archives of everything. And I could go back and, produce my year 9 science essay. If you'd like to read it, I think that's probably going to be less exciting.
I think we could put that up on the Instagram, maybe, over a couple of slides.
We'll see.
By the way, the last ep, I got a message from my sister who said the last episode, the most recent episode of Deep Thought is hilarious. And now that is astonishing for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't know she listened. Two, she never says anything nice to me, let alone you. And she also said that your American Rosso story, this one that we're about to hear, she just laughed her ass off. So you won over my sister, which I've been trying to do for 32 years.
Wow. Well, I'm very appreciative of that support, and I hope that this also satisfies all those American Rosso heads out there.
Hi, American Rosso. Try this one on for size.
Rather not.
Our principal of College Adelaide ran away. We went on holidays, and he flew to India and never came back. Seriously. Our replacement was just announced, but we have an acting headmistress called something. That's a weird one.
Yeah. Anyway, he wants us to call it.
Away to India.
He's the new person's a Kiwi. You prank, I play the pirate material prank at Year 12 Muck-Up Day Assembly. I don't think we'll do that.
That was my goal.
I think we might ring Nick and see whether he's answering his phone at school.
Get him in trouble.
Get him in trouble. Let's get him expelled. Nick.
Pretty
Parents
aggressive.
spending all that money on
They're
that
not happy with
expensive
you.
school. Would he be at play lunch now?
On a scholarship, so...
Play lunch.
10:53 Eastern Standard Time when we're recording this.
Now here's the prank that goes even better than I remembered.
Go fuck yourself.
Hello?
Nick?
Hold on a second.
That's us. Hang on a second.
Don't.
Okay. Yep. Hi.
Hey, Nick, it's American Rosso.
No, I'm just messing with you. Leave a message.
You shit.
You little smartass.
You little shit.
That was good.
That was
I was thinking,
great.
what's
Could've gone
Coldplay
better.
doing in the back of his school?
my-
Why don't we ring his school and say, I'm from the Adelaide Young Homosexual Society and I need to speak to one of your students? Should I do that? Yeah, all right, let's do it.
Good morning, college.
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
Hello, yeah, that's Kevin Bacon here. Look, I've found one of your
Bacon.
students' school bags.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's a young guy. I run a group for young homosexuals at the church, and one of your students left the bags there.
Right. The student's name, please.
His name is Nick.
Nick. Nick
Left in the
Yeah.
has left his bag.
Yeah.
Where?
Well, I can't give out the actual address. I was just wondering, I should just drop it off, should I?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, but look, if he's looking for it or his parents are concerned, it's Kevin Bacon.
Okay.
It's from the Young Homosexuals Christian Group.
Okay then.
Okay, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You arsehole. Oh, Christ. If they find out he's a young homosexual, they'll make him a prefect.
Wow, dude.
Hey!
About time I did a joke on this fucking
Oh,
podcast.
come on.
Wow.
What do you
Wow,
think
that-
of that?
I mean, yeah, that didn't age well, did it, for them?
Doesn't age as well as.
But that's so interesting. By the way, you missed out a very crucial part about your prank, which makes your prank even better.
Uh-huh.
You don't just go, hello. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You go, hello. Hold on just a second. That is genius. The hold on just a second.
Yeah.
That is what's the word?
Evil genius.
Sure. I mean, it's perfect. It just adds this. That's weird. It's weird to listen back to that.
Yeah. It was.
And-
I'd forgotten that was actually the phone message bank thing that I had there, because I definitely did the hey, nah, just kidding. And then once everyone got sick of that, I changed it, and then I changed it to this thing where I'd queued up a little bit of music on the radio, so I was ready to go, and then I turn it down, and I choreographed this whole thing, and then to hit them with the nah, leave a message. Oh, it couldn't have they actually spoke for the exact right amount of time before it came in as well. It couldn't have been better.
Yeah. And were you actually playing Coldplay in the background?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just blasting Coldplay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like authenticity. It was 2006, people had Coldplay on their radios.
Sorry, mate. I just turned down the Chris Martin.
Yes.
Just rocking out with my Coldplay out.
Yeah. So that was my prank.
That is amazing.
And
that is amazing.
As you recall, I mean, it wasn't even a deliberate prank. It's just how it ended up happening. But you can hear by the end of that call that the secretary is a bit like, okay,
yeah.
sus. This is okay. Kevin Bacon. Okay.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon. What? I mean, come on. What are they doing?
Too obvious.
Kevin Bacon. As far as I'm concerned, you won that prank.
Okay.
Your prank.
Did I?
Your prank was better than their prank.
Yes.
Their prank was like kind of lame.
Yeah.
They're like the homosexuals come where Kevin Bacon. It's like some stupid prank. That's
Yeah.
stupid.
Well,
I like
thank
your
you.
prank. I'm
Thank
on Team
you.
Nick for this.
Okay, good. I'm glad that I won you over for the first time in 32 years.
First time. That was amazing. Good
Oh.
stuff. I hope you save everything forever
Thank you. I will do my best.
for that reason.
That's why I've collected all of my nail clippings since 2007 in a tiny vial I keep by my bed.
That's super gross. Wait. You've clipped every nail clipping in a tiny vial.
It's overflowing. I also very rarely cut my nails.
I was at the tram stop the other day and I saw a massive toenail, and I just I just had to backtrack. I had to imagine where this what was someone doing? They were, by the way, it's so cold outside, so they would have had to been outside, taken their shoe off because no one's wearing thongs, and just picked at their toenail, taken off a huge one. It would have been recently as well, otherwise it would have blown away. I wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah, that's gross. And also, like, you don't want to be cutting nails when it's cold anyway. That's not like that's just going to be so much more difficult than when it's like fresh out of the shower.
Yeah. Do you cut your nail? Wait, what? You cut your nails when they're fresh, you're fresh out of the shower. 'Cause
Don't
it's
tell me
moist.
don't tell me you're a cold cutter. You
I'm
cut
a
your,
cold cut.
you cut your nails cold.
Call me
Oh.
a big piece of pastrami because you I'm a cold cutter.
This is like you telling me that you wipe your ass with your hand. Like
I do.
this is something that you should have advanced beyond as
No one-
human being by now.
No one ever told me how to cut my nails. No one ever told me how to save money. No one ever told me how to eat properly. These
Yeah.
are things that I just had to learn.
Yeah, right.
Like I had to teach myself,
Wow.
like a jungle child.
Like from first principles. Yeah.
Yeah, like seriously, my parents, no offense to my parents, they instilled in me a lot of great values, but one thing that they didn't do was tell me how to eat properly. They never emphasized nutrition ever. Never talked about it. They ate badly themselves. Like no one in my family was fat,
Sure.
but no one, it was just never even a thought. If it was there, you ate it. If it was chips, you ate it. You know, there was Pepsi Max out the wazoo. 24/7. My parents were actually
24/7.
my parents were addicted to Pepsi Max.
Right.
They're gonna hate me saying this. My parents were addicted to Pepsi Max. They would both sit there. You know, my dad would go to his room where he'd watch movies by himself, presumably. I don't know what kind of
What
movies.
kind of okay, yeah, you beat me to that.
And my mum would watch her movies, and they'd both go through a 1.25 liter Pepsi Max every night.
Every night?
And every
Together?
fucking night.
Or they'd have 1.25 each?
Each.
They'd have 1.25 per person per night.
Yep. And
Wow.
this is going to sound dumb as fuck, but I kid you not, it wasn't until I started living with housemates that I realized that Pepsi was bad for you. I thought it's just liquid. How could it be bad? I didn't even know that sugar made you fat. I didn't even
Wow.
know that. I know.
Wow.
I was like an Amish kid.
Yeah.
In
An
nutrition
Amish kid that
terms.
ate only Pepsi. Drank only Pepsi.
Totally. My mum was legit addicted to it.
Wow.
She got told by the doctor that she had to stop drinking it
How long ago?
because she had like recently because she had like
Oh.
some health issues, and
Right.
he was like, "So you're addicted to meth?" And she was like, "No, no, no." And then he went down the list, and he was like, "Well, I got anything else?" She was like, "Well, I drink a lot of Pepsi Max," and he's like, "How much?" She's like, 2 liters a day," and he's like, "Okay, that's
That's probably part of the problem. Oh man.
isn't that wild?"
Yeah, that's so. I mean, it's a generational thing. Obviously, if your parents don't know anything about it or don't care about it, then obviously it's not going to instill in you automatically.
I guess. I mean, my dad's like come from like Ukrainian. I give my dad a pass, but because you know they come from like Ukrainian immigrants, and I think there's like a mentality that like if it's in front of you, you fucking eat it because
Yeah,
maybe
who knows when the next thing's coming?
Yeah, his parents came from the war, but my mom's parents, you know, a little tricky, a little dicier, a little less forgiving.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Interesting. So, have you now educated yourself? I mean, you've gone vegetarian and back again a couple of times, and like that clearly suggests that some degree of awareness as to what you're eating. Do you feel like
now-
you're all on
now
top of like a dietary, the food pyramid and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, totally. And since I started like exercising and like paying for a gym membership and all that stuff, that has made me, you know, I didn't want to pay money to the gym and then eat badly, so because that'd be a waste of money. So then I looked into, you know, food. So in the last like 4 or 5 years, I started to take it seriously, and you know, I downloaded my Fitness Pal recently, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
I've been tracking every
Oh.
meal that I eat.
Oh, well done.
I was like at the start because when you came down here last a couple of months ago, you were telling me about MyFitnessPal.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, tracking your food's like kind of hard. But now, if you trick yourself, you can get into like a thing where
Yeah.
it becomes a game.
Yeah.
So if I miss a meal, if I miss yesterday's dinner, I'm like, oh, I forgot to.
Oh, shit, go
Now it's
back
like a
and-
game.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the key. Make everything a game, and then it's fun.
Well, and then particularly if you've got a target there as well, it's like, oh, I'm 7 grams of fat over. Like, oh no, or I need to eat 100 more, you know, kilojoules of something. You know,
That's it.
having that target is quite interesting.
And once again, we found a way to make
Make
this
it about Jim.
Make it about the gym.
Well, I think that was a natural progression, though. I think that's allowed.
What's next on the agenda?
Next on the Jenny. We started here. Let's go back here a second. This past week in Australia has been wild for the COVIDs. Give me, for a bit of context, my parents have actually just arrived in Christchurch just before this past weekend. And I spent several days with them over here in Christchurch. It was a reunion. First time I'd seen them in person in 18 months, which was lovely.
Yeah.
First time they met KC in person. Whole bunch of exciting opportunities to hang out, have food, show them around town, and things have changed and all that kind of stuff. And they, as it turns out, just got in 2 days before New Zealand closed the border to Australia.
Wow.
So they're still here, and theoretically they go back next weekend, but I'm not quite sure they know which route or which planes or, which states will take them through to Adelaide without some form of quarantine being required.
Well, the travel bubble's opening up again as of, tonight or tomorrow, isn't it? So they should be fine. Like, South Australia's fine.
I think if they went through Melbourne, say, to Adelaide, they'd be all right. But that wasn't their original route. I think their original route was back through Brisbane, which is now looking dicey. So we'll see.
Yeah, they're... okay, so when are they going back?
Sunday.
Oh, this Sunday.
So that's after the 3-day Brisbane lockdown as currently scheduled, but I don't know if that's going to be done in 3 days.
Well, that's the thing with this. Like, anything can happen. Like with this Delta variant, it's like this shit escalates so quickly, so fast. So much happens over the weekend. But I basically didn't check the news from Friday evening till Sunday afternoon, and it was like the craziest 48 hours that Australia has seen during the pandemic.
Yeah,
we've had multiple states shut down. I mean, it's scary. The whole thing's really scary, and it's crazy that Victoria is one of the only states at the moment that is not locked down. That feels weird. You just feel like in Victoria. You just feel used to. You're like, oh, that's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me to see the difference in the way the media has covered this thing when it hit Sydney. I saw some commentary saying that the moment that the areas of Sydney that the media elite tend to live in was in lockdown, all of a sudden it was a disaster, and the federal government had fucked this up, and there was nothing that New South Wales could have done, and it's not their fault, and blah blah blah. Which is such a striking contrast to the whole Dan Andrews and Victoria, bullshit that's been laid at the feet of Victoria all through the past year. So in some ways, there must be like a hint of sadistic pleasure in seeing them go through it now, right?
There is, to a degree. It's like you said, it's the way that the media has handled Gladys Berejiklian's handling of lockdown. So she's put off lockdown. Gladys Berejiklian is the New South Wales Premier. She held off on lockdown for arguably too long. And
then the first lockdown was sub-districts. It wasn't even citywide. It was 4 sort of larger council areas, regions. With the logic being that people don't really go from one region to another, so it's all fine. And then, like this sketchiest excuse, really.
Yeah, and even when she did start to lock down, wasn't calling it a lockdown. So
refused to let the word be said.
Yes, she said you can call it whatever you want. And it's like it's a lockdown. And not only was it interesting to see the way that the media outlets reported Gladys's handling of the lockdown, it was interesting to see at those press conferences, which we've all gotten so used to seeing, and so glued to the TV to watch. The questions that were coming into her were pretty soft compared to the ones that were coming in for Dan Andrews when he was locking down. We had Peter Credlin from the Herald Sun and other reporters from Sky News basically hammering him and his staff with conspiracy theories, question after question, trying to elicit a response, trying to implicate him. So it's just been the division there has been pretty incredible to actually see it blatantly laid out for everyone.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it feel so disheartening, is that so many of those actions are so clearly political in nature, and not wanting to call it a lockdown. Well, why does that matter to anyone? Well, because that's a political success if you can somehow claim you didn't have to lock down because of your state's policies, then that's a success in the eyes of the voter, and small business was open, or blah blah blah, or whatever talking points you need to take into the next election. To me, as an outsider, far removed from all of the sort of interstate competitiveness and that kind of thing, it has really seemed like this past week has seen Scott Morrison really in the forefront of everyone's minds, and that his failures becoming crystal clear. And I've seen that in not just regular people opinions, but also coming from the media a bit now as well, being like, where the fuck is ScoMo, and what did he do? And all of the stuff that they're now announcing and rolling out mostly seems like stuff where it's like, wait, you weren't already doing that?
Yeah, I saw one tweet today that was like, Scott Morrison held a late night press conference where he announced that not only would the AstraZeneca vaccine, they would create an indemnity clause that would make it legal for GPs to administer the AstraZeneca vaccine to people under the age of 60, which they previously said was not
risky.
Unsafe, but but he also, what did he also say? He also said that they would make it compulsory for workers in aged care it would be mandatory for them to get the vaccine. And yeah, I saw one tweet.
And for like close contacts of airline workers and that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
All of which seemed like things where you're like, wait, why were they not vaccinating the family of people that worked at the airports already? Like, what the fuck?
That was the tweet that I saw. It was, the guy said, this is like live as it was happening. It was like, it seems like Scott Morrison is just reading out a list of things that everyone thought he was already doing.
Yeah.
Or that he should have done ages ago.
Yeah. And the Australian medical body, whose name I can't bring to mind on the top of my head, just came out a couple of hours ago and responded to ScoMo saying that people under 60 could take AstraZeneca to say, we very strongly recommend that people under 60 don't take AstraZeneca, and our doctors and people won't do it. So ScoMo's announced a thing which isn't actually now potentially possible. And why are GPs doing it when GPs are already at the front line with so many other... it is such a clusterfuck. And there was such an advantage that Australia had in terms of the way it was able to shut the borders and aim for COVID-0. And it really feels like it's crystal clear now that the federal government has just tripped over their own balls, and everyone is now suffering as a result of it. I'm curious whether this will continue to plague him as they approach the election this year, or whether people will forgive it.
I really hope not. Like, I'm talking about it with my folks, trying to get them to engage in a conversation with me about how, because they voted for the prick. I'm just trying to gauge like where they sit, and I mean, I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it will sway people who. I mean, maybe it will. I'm just going from my parents' reaction, but they're certainly not. They're certainly not swayed by by what's happening now. They'll say, yeah, it is a bit of a mess, but we are in a pandemic. This is what happens in a pandemic, which is something that ScoMo said last night. He said, can I just remind people that the reason we're having outbreaks is because we're in a pandemic. It's like, yeah, no shit. But it's like, how are you managing this? I mean, it seems like we've taken our foot off the pedal. We have a massive advantage in being an island, as New Zealand does. That's a massive advantage. But it seems like because of that advantage, the rest of the world is now opening up. They've had to put on their foot in the gas early in the early stages of the pandemic, in terms of getting the vaccine out into people, and maybe they have had an advantage in that they have proximity to where the vaccine's been manufactured. I don't know how it's going in New Zealand. Like I think the vaccination rollout it's like 7 or 8% in New Zealand.
Yeah, it's pretty
Is that
similar
correct?
in New Zealand. It's slow here as well, and I'm itchy about that.
But you're not having outbreaks, right?
Wellington just had a tiny lockdown, or not even a lockdown, a level 2. Everyone has to wear masks around kind of alert level increase, because someone came from Sydney, visited Wellington for the week, and then went home again. And so they had a couple of cases break out. But that ends tonight, and I believe that there aren't any sort of ongoing hotspots here now.
What's the difference here now? Does New Zealand have purpose-built quarantine facilities built?
No, I don't think it has. I don't think it has separate facilities. It does do the managed isolation quarantine in hotels. I think the difference for them is because there isn't states, and because it's all in the purview of the federal government, they've been able to enact one set of standards for every hotel around the country, regardless of where people fly into. And that's at least allowed uniformity. And then they have been proactive in making sure that all the people on the borders have got the vaccine first, and in fact sacked people who refused to get the vaccine, so that the entirety of that wall has some degree of protection there. I do wish that it was a little bit further along. I do feel like it would have been nice to have those vaccines earlier, but by the end of July, they will be rolling out into the entire population, so there won't be any age limit. So from July 28th, it will be accessible to any adult. So, so in a month's time or a bit after, depending on bookings, I'll be able to get a jab.
You'll be able to get whatever. What jab are you going to be?
It'll be
able to get?
Pfizer, I think. Yeah.
You can get. They have enough Pfizer to be able to roll out to the entire population who's eligible.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So I'm just confused by this whole process. Here's a dumb question. Is the problem that the government doesn't have the ability to buy enough vaccines? And if they could buy enough vaccines, they just aren't able to get their hands on them.
The original problem with Australia, I think, comes back to the middle of last year, where they were offered vaccines at a certain price and said, no, we're not going to pay that. And so then fell to the back of the queue. And now, even if there are alternatives out there, and I'm not sure which one they said no to, I think it might have been AstraZeneca. That would have been...
We've got bucket
been
loads
the first
of
one.
AstraZeneca.
Yeah. Maybe it was Pfizer. I forget. Or Moderna? I can't remember. They said no to it. And now they are ready to roll out but don't have enough doses. So some places in Australia have been closing their vaccination clinics because they just don't have literally the vials to jab into arms. And it was the government's responsibility to secure enough vaccines. And because they were pissing about and wasting time and not willing to just cough up the money, the deliveries are now backlogged. We're waiting for them to make more that is going to be allocated for Australia. But there's only so many factories around the world making this thing. And now you're just in the queue. There's just this waiting game. And in the meantime, because this variant has cropped up, all of a sudden the waiting game is infections and lives.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, that clears that up. Because the obvious question is, I mean, you answered it just before in saying that New Zealand's vaccine rollout is on track to go out to the rest of the population in July. But yeah, I mean, at the moment, the vaccination rates are comparable with Australia and New Zealand. But the other thing is that, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before with the disparity between how different premiers of different political parties are presented in the media. Scott Morrison and his cronies have been actively favouring or bestowing, compliments on the way that Gladys has
The coalition zones, right?
Exactly how Gladys has staved off, how they've commended Gladys on her initial resistance to lockdown, and in question time and whatever, they've actively, him and Josh Frydenberg have been saying that Dan Andrews and his government have been locking down too hard, costing small business. These guys are playing favorites, and they're meant to be mum and dad.
Yeah. I just looked up what the progress in New Zealand is. So currently there are 637,847 first doses and an additional 381,517 second doses. So that's 381,000 fully in New Zealand, fully vaccinated, and twice as much with just the first dose. So of a population of 5 million, as you say, that's not a huge percentage yet, but I believe the big shipments are coming in, pretty soon.
Yeah, what a clusterfuck.
Yeah, we can only hope that the actions that have been taken currently to lock down all these various places can control the Delta thing and get things back to normalcy, because that's a nasty one. I don't like that being rampant around the place.
Yeah, it's just like, it's so exhausting, and Victoria's done it the hardest. Not that it's a competition, but we're winning.
It has, yeah.
And we've just gone through another 4-week lockdown, and it is likely, I would say now, that we will go into another one. The likelihood of this, basically every state having having outbreaks and it not coming to Victoria, which is a hub of sorts in Australia, we're going to get it.
It's very low. Yeah.
And just the idea of, in the last lockdown, people are at breaking down. Breaking point. You can feel it. I'm sure they're breaking down too, but you can feel it on the streets. It's tangible. You can feel it in the shops. You can feel it when you go in to go get a coffee and the chairs are all stacked up, and the person who's doing the coffees is clearly the owner because they can't afford to pay anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, if we went into it again, I don't even know. I'm sure we'd cope with it all right, but it would just break everyone's spirit to the point where I can't even imagine how you'd think about returning, because it's like you thought that if we did this for a bit, the light was at the end of the tunnel. And especially when you see other parts of the world starting to open up, who also did it really tough. But when you start to see everyone else in the world opening up, and we're going back into darkness, it's it's brutal.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, A, that ScoMo gets his shit together, or B, ScoMo doesn't last through the election. I mean, the most fucking outrageously disappointing thing, second most outrageous disappointing thing, is the fact that Labour is fucking absent. Where the fuck is any kind of Labour opposition leader you can get behind? Albanese is a complete waste of time. I don't even know why they gave him this job, because he's so underwhelming, so uncharismatic, and so complicit in the sense of most of his policies are coalition policies anyway. So I don't get why there's... I mean, yes,
it's such a good point.
There was a COVID unity that needed to happen in the early days, where it was we all have to band together, everyone's in this, we can beat this if we're united. But now that the persistent bullshit has caused ongoing harm, and there'll be people who have long COVID from these present day infections whose lives will sincerely never be back to normal. And there is no voice of opposition, no compelling, argument as to why you should vote for Labour and get the coalition out of power. I mean, the coalition just put fucking Barnaby Joyce back in as the second most powerful man in the country. Like, and there's still no opposition.
Who got fined today for not wearing a mask, by the way?
Exactly. He's the fucking worst dipshit, and there's still no argument from Labour. I don't even vote Labour, but like, for fuck's sake, can you be anything of use?
How do you expect people to vote away from the present government if you don't have a viable option? And Albanese, I agree, is not doing shit. He's not giving anyone a boner. We need Mark McGowan or Dan Andrews. I mean, those guys. If we had those guys that people can get behind.
Yeah.
The amount of support that Dan Andrews has, despite how many lockdowns we've been in Victoria, of Victorians, is astounding.
Yeah.
He is wholeheartedly beloved in Victoria.
Yeah, I don't know. Disappointing.
What else? What else we got?
Well, we gotta keep moving. I want to take a brief tangent into the world of late night television because Conan O'Brien stepped away this past week. I have been watching the last few weeks with extreme interest as he's said his goodbyes and done a few farewell shows. I don't know about you, but that's probably the only celebrity interview podcast that I still listen to. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. And did you watch the final episode? I'm curious where you stand on the Conan train.
I love Conan. I have been saving the last episode. Was Bill Hader on the last episode?
No, Jack Black.
Jack Black. Okay, cool. I've been saving every other clip, so I'm gonna make a night of it.
I would advise.
I might watch it tonight.
I would advise actually downloading the full episode because it's 75 minutes. Like it's a full special, not just the YouTube. There's not everything on the YouTube, and it's really nice to see him sort of in that mode where there's like a title and a band and an intro and an audience and all these kind of things. To see it as a full show again, not just a series of YouTube clips, is really quite nice.
So is he kind of like downplayed it in the running up episodes? He's transitioning into something else, right?
Correct. He's sort of doing the Letterman model in the sense of he's no longer doing 4 nights a week late night TV. He'll do a once weekly kind of special, but I don't think anyone really knows what that is yet. So maybe it'll be a this week we're in Thailand, or maybe it'll be a this week I'm sitting down with the president, or who knows? They're still working that out.
And will Jordan Schlansky be in it?
I need to know that too, but I don't know that it's established.
Oh man! So
did you watch his final goodbye?
Conan Without Borders. No, I haven't. I haven't watched anything because I knew.
But Schlansky wasn't the last. Schlansky wasn't the last episode. I mean specifically the Schlansky last appearance.
I did watch the Jordan Schlansky last appearance.
Okay, yeah,
I think, but I didn't watch Conan's final goodbye.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, because I thought the final send off to the Schlansky thing was very funny.
Oh, good. Yeah, he did the Conan Without Borders thing, but like I thought there was going to be that was on Netflix, wasn't it? Was it? Maybe
I don't remember.
It was just on YouTube.
It was part of the show, but then I think maybe they separately spun off episodes. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I love that.
Yeah,
but, I gotta miss Conan, man. He's super funny. I remember when you were down here last, we were watching some Conan. We were saying that he's kind of like on the fence, like, or actually like toes the line between like he gets quite sexual with guests
sometimes. Yeah.
If you ever saw like clips of like Craig Ferguson, like he would be like flirty, but it wasn't like in a creepy way. I feel like Conan like got vaguely creepy, or he would kind of disarm it by talking about how grosser he is, but he would always be like, "Oh, boobs, he'd do that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was very Like, I had affection for Conan. I think he's a good interviewer. I like the podcast that he does. But watching the final episode and watching a highlights reel of some of the best moments, you're like, fuck, this guy's funny. Like, sincerely,
funny.
just one of those brains which can be funny in any situation.
Yeah.
And there was a whole bunch of articles that came out about asking guests and celebrities what Conan meant to them. I saw it at a few different places. Vulture had one, Washington Post had one, and the fact that multiple publications even did the same thing and reached out to comedians and actors to ask what he meant to them suggests some degree of stature. But all of them, without fail, were saying how kind he is in person and how silly and supportive he was, and that his role as the host was to be there and prop you up, and you do see that in his demeanor. I think it's quite affecting.
Yeah, he's like, you just love his silliness, which, like as you said, it was something that Letterman had. He could just be so silly on a dime, and he's like kind of one of those last guys. Like, you don't see Kimmel or Fallon, not that anyone thought they were ever in that caliber, but that you don't see that silliness that much these days. And yeah, and also he's had such a dramatic run his career. I mean, with his Tonight Show and getting caught up in that Jay Leno and Dave Letterman bizzo.
Yeah. And I think the thing with Letterman as well is he could be cutting in a way that he would make fun of the guest to their face, and Conan never,
and they maybe wouldn't get it.
Yeah, Conan would never slag off the person next to him, even if he didn't think much of them, and I respected that. I'll just on that note, there was an article that reemerged this week, which I won't read the whole length of, but which, if you're interested in, you can click the chapter title and read. It was so anyone who doesn't know, Conan originally was brought on as a complete nobody in 1993 with absolutely no late night experience or even on-camera experience. He was a Simpsons writer and SNL writer. And everyone was like, who the fuck is this person? Why is he here? He's clearly pissing himself. This is never going to work. And for many, at least the first couple of years, everyone thought he was going to be cancelled and everyone thought he couldn't do it. What emerged this week was an opinion column in the New York Times reviewing Conan O'Brien in 1993, written by Conan O'Brien. So he writes a slag off, insult-laden review of his own performance and the debut show of his original talk show. It is incredible and very funny all the way through. And it comes from the perspective of someone. This writer had the opportunity to watch a test show in the legendary studio, and frankly, I was not impressed. So even in the very fucking first week of his thing, he had the comedic chops to write an op-ed column in the New York Times and insult his own performance. And it's
still his byline?
It says, O'Brien flops by Conan O'Brien. It is a great read. Please click on the chapter title and give it a read. It's not too long, but it's very funny.
I was about to click on the chapter title.
Yeah, it's very funny.
I'll give that a read.
I might also throw one more thing here because of the relevant segues. This is kind of maybe a tiny rec engine. I don't really know if we have the time for the full jingle. I have for many years now been a big fan of Seth Meyers. I just need to put out there now, Seth Meyers in his pandemic era has been the fucking best that he's ever been.
Agreed.
Have you watched Corrections? Do you see the shit he's putting up?
Corrections?
Oh, okay. How exciting. Corrections is a YouTube-only web series that Seth Meyers puts out, records in the studio, the last thing they ever shoot in the shoot week, and it is an ongoing, literal list of mistakes that they made in the previous week's shows, either factual or otherwise, that audience members have sent in. And it is just brilliant. It is a 10 to 15 to 20-ish minute free-form joke fest of Seth just by himself looking down a list of the mistakes he made, pronunciation, factual issues with jokes, and ongoing bizarre, wacky recurring bits that is the purest distillation, I think, of his brain and the way his comedy works and his comedic approach, and it is brilliant. If you take the premise of a late night comedian,
So it's a late night thing.
getting feedback from the audience who are being super pedantic and persnickety about comedic premises, and then just let that person riff on it for 20 minutes, you'll get an idea of what you're getting into. It's brilliant.
Yeah, so it's part of the late night show.
It's never aired. It's never aired on TV, but it is
Right.
an online exclusive.
Yeah, it's an offshoot. Yeah.
But every week they come back in and they address things that were problems in that week's episode, and also problems in the corrections that they issued last week. And so part of the ongoing things is that one week people will correct them one thing, and then the next week they'll correct the corrections, and so on and so on. And it is just delightful. I will send you some good ones. It is fantastic.
Yeah, sweet. I do love the Seth.
Tell me, Michael, do we have anything in the mailbag?
Let me just check. I'm just I have the thing ready. I'm just like trying to think of a funny response to that, and I can't think of anything. So I guess this will do. Yes,
Well,
we do.
shall I just give you more? Shall I give you more time?
No, I think we need less time.
Mailbag, it's the weekly mailbag. Deep thoughts mailbag. Tell me, Michael, what do we have in the mailbag?
We've got inbox 1. That was
Okay.
so shit. Fuck.
You had
fucking
5
hate
minutes.
myself. I know. Right, cool. So a couple of weeks ago, I decided I'm a very entrepreneurial kind of guy. I'm an innovator. I'm a dreamer. I'm always looking for ways to make a buck. Those three things don't necessarily go together.
Sometimes contradictory.
I offered our airtime, our very valuable prime real estate airtime,
Yeah.
to the listeners, to our friends, to the public, and said that for a couple of bucks, you can basically get us to say whatever you want. And Casper took us up on that a couple of weeks ago, and we've actually got another request for an ad. Not
God.
joking.
Okay.
Not joking.
Shocked. I didn't
So,
think anyone would see this as valuable.
Neither did I. Neither did.
Yes, you did. This was your idea. You tried to launch this sincerely.
I don't believe in myself. I didn't
Okay.
think that this would work. So big friend of the show, this one, Nick. You know him. He's the creator of our amazing logo. It's Sean Lewis. He doesn't care that his full name's out there, does he?
Let's just say Sean.
Okay, Sean. But keeping the Lewis.
I'm
that I said
going to
earlier.
leave all of that. Yeah.
Leave both. All right. So he's just asked us to promote his webcomic.
Oh, it's
Have
an
you heard
actual
about this?
ad. Oh, that's sweet.
It's an actual ad. So he wants me specifically to read out the copy.
Okay, good.
So I do that. So the
Wait.
website is...
Wait.
All right.
How much is he planned to pay? Because remember,
He
we
wants to
sell
give
it
us-
in 30-second increments.
Well, he's given us, which this might be a good idea, as like it could be a pay what you want kind of model. But he's going to give us $5 for this ad.
$5.
That's $2.50 each,
That's
mate.
10 minutes of airtime.
No, the copy's not that. He's just said, "I'll give you $5 for this ad."
Wow. Okay. Well, shit. Does this model work?
So we better take. It might, dude. I don't know. Are we rich?
I think we're rich. We can keep the lights on.
All right.
Jeez. Okay, let's go.
So Sean's comic is called The Magi. So here's the copy. The Magi, a community of wizard monks, lived
Okay,
in
I'm going to
peace.
stop you right there. I'm sorry, just because I do know what he's talking about. It's the Magi.
The Magi. It's like Magina, right? Okay. That's how I'll remember it. Magina.
Yeah.
All right. The Magi, a community of... Should I do an accent? What accent should I do?
Can you do Brazilian?
Maybe I was thinking like... No. Like Gandalf.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah. Do
Like
a
an
Gandalf.
old like
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that
yeah.
is that
Yeah, yeah.
appropriate
No, I think that's
for
good.
this?
Yeah, I think that's good.
I'll do like a David Attenborough. How about like a David Attenborough
Okay.
copycat?
That's quite okay. That's quite different, but yeah, sure.
I've never seen Lord of the Rings. No one has. Okay. The Magi, a community of wizard monks, lived in peace until 6 gods united to destroy them all, and yet one survived. With the last breath of their people by their side, the lost Magi sets out into a hostile world to get revenge for a genocide. Check out thelastmagi.com. That's TheLastMagi.com. Every week for new pages of this webcomic. Bye. He added the bye, so I did the bye.
Very well done. Very well done.
that
I liked the voice. It was a little bit confusing the way that you chose to spell last Magi with LASTMAGI, like breaking out the words that are not words into separate. It's not like a phone number where you can choose any pairing of numerals that you want to make it easier to get across. It's kind of already got a nice little break there for you. So, interesting choice on that front. But maybe that just makes it more memorable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I realized that while I was doing that. I was like, I've definitely emphasized the wrong
That's
syllables.
thelastmagi.com. LASTMAGI. Not helpful.
But
Is
all
it
right,
easier?
well,
Wait, maybe it's easier to think of it this way. TheLASTMAGI.com. Is that easier? Does that make it better?
I got it.
I got it.
dot com.
Thelastamagi.
.com. Don't forget that.
Don't forget the COM.
No, but seriously, I will check that out, Nick. I will.
Yeah, it's a
and
great
not-
webcomic.
And not but just because they're a sponsor.
You'll
of
love
the
it.
show.
Not many words, so you can just look at the pictures.
I love things that don't have words.
Yeah, very cool fantasy webcomic by Sean. Go check it out. Beautifully colored. Very compelling story. A legitimate sponsor. Well
and
done.
enter in promo code
Deep
Deep
Fort
Fort for 20% off.
to unlock a secret character.
No,
Michael
seriously-
and I have been drawn into this comic, and only if you go to thelastmagi.com/Deep Fort, you can see us embodied in the world and then beheaded by the last Magi.
So it's a comic.
It is a
Online-
webcomic.
online comic,
An online
webcomic.
comic. Yeah.
Cool. Can't
We'll
wait.
see
I'll check it out.
whether
He's a
I-
talented guy, that Sean,
He is.
isn't he?
We will see whether or not he now feels compelled to do the thing which I told him would be a website address and draw extra pages of us in the comic. It would be a lot of work.
You know, a couple of maybe like a year or two ago, he asked me to take some like photos of myself, and he was I don't know if I meant to tell you this, but he was like, "Can you take some photos of yourself? Are you interested in doing some voice acting for this animation thing that I'm doing?
Huh.
And I'm going to base it on you." And so I took some selfies and stuff, and he was like, "Thanks, I'll get back to you." Never heard back from him, so I can only assume he's just using them to wank.
This checks out. Do you know how many people he's asked for selfies and then... Yep.
I mean, it's a good move. Good move.
Yeah. I feel like we've waited long enough. Shall we kick off another round of the incredible smash hit debut segment, Bitlyball?
So let me put on my Bitlyball beanie.
You BLBB.
Because my hair's looking crazy, dude.
Okay.
All right, ready for
You're
it.
officially sporty. Start the clock. No, that's not how it works. Play the jingle. No, that's not how it works either. It's time for Bitlyball.
Bitlyball.
I did actually cut down this jingle, so it is now a more palatable size in preparation for future episodes. So.
It's now 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay. Bitlyball, it's back. Let's set some ground rules. There is a website, bit.ly. It is a URL shortener. It will take a very long and unwieldy URL and make it into a convenient, shareable, linkable size. One of the features of Bitly is the ability to then set a custom name at the end of that URL to make it easier to remember or easier to read. So, for instance, Coldplay on their next coming tour might write bit.ly.com/Coldplay Tour 2021 and redirect you to whatever handy portal they want to sell you tickets on. That phrase is the entire focus of Bitlyball, which proceeds as such. Michael and I will alternate across 3 rounds in guessing completely off the top of our heads a URL extension, that custom phrase at the end of the URL, and typing it into a browser, bit.ly/this phrase. If that URL redirects to a different website, you succeed. If you get a bit.ly 404, you have failed. Now, there are points allocated based on the level of your success. If you get a bit.ly 404, if it doesn't redirect, if no one has ever created that custom link before, you lose points based on the length of the phrase, the number of characters in your phrase. If you get redirected, but the website that you get to is no longer functional, if it's a YouTube video which is no longer listed, if it's a different website with nothing there to show for it, you get 0. If you, however, successfully pick a phrase that someone else has used and it redirects to a working website, you get as many points as there are characters in that phrase. So the goal is to pick a phrase that redirects to a successful working site. Now, there is a subcategory of success called porn success, in which if you manage to pick a phrase which successfully redirects to another area of the internet and it loads and it's porn or porn adjacent, you get double points.
Porn adjacent.
This is still early days in this game. So
Cool.
So it's a risk versus reward game. Longer phrases will get you more points, but are also potentially less likely to be correct. So,
by the way,
involved.
I think this will make a great drinking game. And before anyone does that, just let us buy the URL.
All right. So now that we've established in quite a wordy way the rules, let's get into it. Fast game's a good game. Would you like to go first, Michael?
Let me go first. All right.
Remember, of course, that I will type in the answer for you. And we will discover based on my reactions.
Wait, so what's the Bitly website again?
bit.ly
bit.ly
/something.
All right, cool. My first choice is Lost in Translation.
Oh, okay. You're on the same wavelength that I was. Lost in Translation. Okay, I'm going to bring up a letter count app so that we can
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
18.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17. What? 18.
18. Okay. So, Michael, your first guess is an 18. How confident are we feeling here?
I'm feeling very confident.
Very confident. All right, here we go.
Which is very and really together.
3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, we're typing, we're loading. The internet is ticking away. Oh! Complete success. 18 points on the board.
Daily
Michael,
Mail.
Would you like to read off the article? Would you like to read off the article and tell us what it is we've redirected to? bit.ly/lost in translation takes us to...
It's an article in the Daily Mail Australia. The article title is "Washed by Hand in Coleslaw, the hilarious examples of mangled English from around the world." It seems to be an article about inconsistencies in spelling and grammar.
Yeah, exactly. I just said that, but I couldn't hear what you said, but I'm agreeing with you.
So sorry. Yep.
Good
Cool.
guess. That's 18 on the board straight away.
Great start. Great start for me. And by the way, how many are we doing? Three.
We're doing 3,
4?
one each. Yeah, yep. 3 back and forth.
All right, off to a flyer.
You
here.
went for a media kind of guess, right? You picked. I'm guessing you picked that because you like the movie, right?
It was just in my brain.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I thought it had 17 letters. Apparently, it has 18 letters.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through this website here. I'm just gonna read out because this is great fodder. There's like, so it's linked to like foreign signs that have been poorly translated that now mean something else. There's a looks like a Chinese supermarket that says in English, very suspicious supermarket. Can you see that one?
Yes. All right. My guess here. I'm on the same wavelength. I'm picking media properties. I think this is something which is going to be more likely. So, my guess is Mass Effect Andromeda. I will put this into the chat for you. It is a video game. Came out about 4 years ago. The reason I chose it is 20 characters. 20 characters. So I need a big swing here to get on the board and keep up with you after you're 18.
Got it.
This feels...
All right, are you ready?
This feels
Mass Effect
plausible.
Andromeda.
This feels plausible.
Okay. So it's a video game, did you say?
Video game, that's right, yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Mass Effect Andromeda. Ooh!
Oh,
shit.
what? What does that mean?
Oh, this site can't be reached.
Oh.
It seems to have redirected to
It has
the URL
redirected.
cmgamers.net
Uh-huh.
and then some Arabic or something. But
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Have you typed this in?
Yeah. There's
It's
there's
defunct.
Arabic or something. I've never seen Arabic in a URL before. I don't even know if it's
Wow.
Arabic, but that's cool.
looks
Okay,
like
so this is our first. This is under the new rule. This is a null. I haven't lost points, but it didn't
Okay.
load a valid site. So I'm where I was. That's disappointing.
Very.
That's disappointing. If that had
You
that
swung
was
big,
once a
though.
site.
You swung big. You swung
sw-
big. I respect that. I respect
Okay.
it. It's in the spirit of the game.
Okay. All right. Jeez. Tough break there.
All right. All right. I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Oh gosh, you're very confident now.
I got something good here. I know I'm onto something here.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Okay. I'm worried now.
Daddy's little angel.
Oh. Oh boy. I'm smelling porn. I'm smelling porn.
Dude, I can smell the cum from here.
Okay. So spell this out for me.
DAD.
Uh-huh.
DYS.
Uh-huh.
LITTL.
Uh-huh.
EA.
Uh-huh.
NGEL.
17.
Which is the legal age in Texas.
Alrighty. I'm ready. 3, 2, 1. Oh! Oh, that is a complete failure. That is a bit.ly 404. No one has ever used that URL. You are down 17 points, putting you one ahead of me. One ahead. What a complete reversal.
How is that even
Oh.
possible?
Oh, what a failure. Okay.
So confident, dude. I was so
So
confident.
confident. So confident. How exciting for me. I was very worried then. You had a big head start.
Fuck.
Okay, I think I need to play a little bit more conservative here. I need to get on the board, and I need to get ahead of you, but comfortably ahead. Okay. I've got it. This one's definite. This one's got to be it. I know for a fact this is going to be there. Spaghetti bolognese. Spaghetti bolognese. bit.ly/spaghetti bolognese.
You're gonna try and beat me with my favorite food. That's fucked up.
I'm gonna slap those noodles right in your stupid face.
You know that's my favorite food ever, dude.
I'm gonna take this off the board forever, and I'm gonna make you live with the fact that I used your favorite food against you.
That's fucked up. Can you spell spaghetti bolognese for me?
Absolutely. SPAGHETTIBOLOG. That's where they get you. NESE.
I spell it NAISE, but it's because I'm European.
Alrighty.
Spaghetti bolognese. Spaghetti bolognese. All right. And a 3, and a 2, and a 1. And we're on. It's a win. It's a win for Nick.
Oh!
It's a recipe, I believe. It's linked us to a blog. It's linked us to a blog. This is so weird. sterlingholidays.com/spaghetti bolognese, and it's just
That's
a
where
recipe
I go for all
spaghetti
of my
bolognese.
Italian recipe food.
A recipe, by the way, by Chef Utam Bhattacharjee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Wow,
that's
nice
18
one.
points on the board. 18, Michael 1. This is your final...
I'm on 1.
You're on 1. You had 18, you lost 17. This is your final throw. This is your final throw. You're going to have to go big here.
Okay. I am. So what is the pawn points again?
Pawn points are if you
Asking for a friend.
Pawn points is if you get a pawn site, you get double points. It's arguably a broken rule because you could try and aim for pawn all the way through, but you got
to play the rule, not the game.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. All right. Here we go. I'm gonna go on my initial choice, but a little tweak. Daddy's Little Girl.
Daddy's Little
I
Girl.
hope it leads you to the dark web. That's my goal, because the dark web's triple points, as we know. If you get flagged by ASIO, then you can't win. Yeah. Daddy's Little Girl.
Oh boy. You're committing here to a direction which did not succeed last time.
My hope is that it leads you to child pornography and you get arrested.
I think I sincerely need to open this in a private browser tab.
Do it in incognito, definitely. Yeah.
You horrible person. Okay. I feel like part of me feels like if you invoke porn rule, you need to Google it yourself.
That should be the rule. But for the next game,
yeah, I mean,
we'll
how do we verify? How do we verify? Okay, it needs to be objective. This is part of the game, Okay, opening up the private browser tab. Bit.ly/Daddy's Little Girl. 16 points. 16 points. Alrighty, you're ready, Michael. This is to stay in the game.
Daddy's ready.
Oh, fucking hell. It's a success!
Is it porn?
It's not porn. It is not porn, but it is correct. Do you know where it takes you?
Fuck. If it's not porn, it's not a success.
It is a success because you're now tied.
That's not a success.
Daddy's Little Girl takes you...
What the fuck is this?
Some kind of blog website.
Spanish blog.
A Brazilian blog website. But it loaded. It's not...
That's
it's
annoying,
not,
man.
It's not porn. But...
Damn.
You're on 17... and I am on 18. So,
This is what happened last time, though, isn't it?
yep.
You just need 1 point.
No, I'm ahead of you. I am on 18. You are on 17. I just need to not lose anything.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Okay. That's the genius of the game. You can still lose even if you're ahead.
I can still lose here. All I need to do is pick safe.
Okay.
All I need to do here is pick safe.
But don't pick safe, Nick. Come on. The viewers at home, the listeners at home, they want a spice. They want a spicy game. Go big or go home.
All right, Michael.
Go medium.
All right, Michael. My guess. Gay twinks.
What's a twink?
Well, we shall
Is that-
soon find out.
Is that a type of chocolate bar?
Well, in some instances.
And what's a gay?
Well, the gay is pretty self-explanatory by now. I am going to aim for the porn rule. I'm going to see what we can achieve here. And so that is GAYTWINKS. Gay
Can you
twinks.
tell me what a twink is?
Well, let's see
it
what
something-
loads.
Oh, God. All right. This is Twinkie. Sounds yummy.
Okay,
Um,
sometimes.
Sounds pretty yummy. Sounds like it's
This
got
is
a
9
wafer
characters, and it is
center.
for the win. Well, it's already this is
Alright.
this is it. If it doesn't load, you win.
bit.ly/gaytwinks. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh boy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fuck me, dude. I didn't even open this in a private browser. Google knows that I'm looking this up now. Google. I'm getting ads for this shit. Freshgaycum.com. Freshgaycum.com. Oh my God. I'm going to scroll down.
Finally.
I've never been on a gay... Oh my God. I've never been on a gay website before. This is intense.
Sure. So, I believe your face.
Oh my God. I've never seen this before. Fuck. Oh my God. Wow. I'm not homophobic. It's just a shocking thing to see for me. Wow. Well, you won. You've won on multiple levels, I think.
I think that's
won
true.
Bitlyball, and you've gotten me exposed to gay porn, which I'm hopefully...
Some would argue where
now
this podcast has
desensitized
been
to.
trending for 7 years now.
Well done, Nick. Well done.
Thank you. Tallying up the scores now, so that's a 9 times 2, 18. 36 to 17. Good game. Another good game of Bitlyball. Ugh. Handshake. A bow to the opponent. And we bid ourselves adieu.
I await the next Bitlyball. It's a cracking game. And I might just sit here and rub one out.
Well, that's
Well, I'm
it's
here.
nice to see that, horizons are broadening.
Yeah. They are broadening. Like this guy's ass cheeks. Oh, why am I still on the page?